Remu sunade tomu, teride na iomu. In io ni inso. Teride yadeto. To io enmu. Oi rimu. Tu iamu oni inso. Come. Sit. To be frank, although I've agreed to this, the embarrassment of what I will divulge still lingers. Be forewarned that these words depict creation, in all of its beauty as equally as its mire. What follows are what can only be described as the opening statements of all worlds. The ideas that shape what is, the joys and sorrows of what isn't. And I, the one that decided them all. Still here. Good. I shall begin. Who is God? Who set the standard? If it falls on the originator to draw lines of distinction, who was used as its benchmark? Who did God believe in? Impossibly complex. Maybe an answer lies not in who is, rather who marks what is not. In that regard, we pose a similar question. What is God? What constitutes an Almighty? What congeals together to form the Most High? An arcane visage incomprehensible to that not of the same makeup, yet somehow the basis for all. Invoked into reality, what purpose does it serve? Or does the divine vary depending on the era? When was God? When was it born, or is born too physical a descriptor? If it is, when did it feel its existence mandatory? If not, birth implies the opposite fate as well. When does God die? Where is God? Where does God reside? Where do we look? Every place and person provides a description, planes and principalities unending, yet where are the signs? Why a God? While one's mind ponders questions such as these, it ultimately falls into perplexity until a notion of God forms. As a result, every interpretation then manifests fundamentally abstract and distinct. Each grasp on the Almighty thus rendered true to oneself, yet false when gazed through another's lens. Discord is then sowed as one either conforms to the outline of another's deity or separates to form the sects we know as beliefs. It is then justifiable, when placed under proper juxtaposition, how similar these systems of piety can be. Whether bolstered by blind faith, cemented into theory by science, or conceptualized by the uneasy intersection between known and unknown, they nip at each other's heels while silently adjusting and incorporating. From the grandeur of non-Euclidean beings scaling the primordial soup of the cosmos, beckoning those whom it deems necessary, to an eruption of all that could ever be and the endless events brought to life through causality. They can be oversimplified as the outcry to etch one's own depiction of creation, and by extension, one's own shaping of a god. But how a god? Ironically, most depictions fail to perceive the necessity in a particular stage in God, nay, in creation itself. Yes, in the beginning there was not. Pause and for a second try to fathom the magnitude of such nothingness. Unimaginable and inconceivable. Understandably, from the standpoint of those who have always walked where there is, seldom comprehend the lack thereof. Frankly, blasphemous seems the idea of non-existence, as even the void between stars contains specks of creation. Nevertheless, it is outside the framework of mortal comprehension that the truth lies. Once again, I say the inception of all things was nothing. I was, but simultaneously was not. We were infinity, bound and held in stasis by itself. A thing, both immeasurably vast, yet infinitesimally small. A stillness with no possibility. There was nothing, and due to that, all was present. Correction, God was nothing. Correction, God is nothing. Even so, it was from these strings of infinity that I, the concept of concepts, was pulled together. The stillness that had previously reigned everlasting gave way to a new torrent. I was the primordial creation, and in turn, the origin of the stir. During this time, as I contorted and contoured, hacked away and pulled together, spread out and shrunk in, so did all. Of course, we are in fact one and the same. However, with my own actualization, an issue had risen. The paradox of being creator and creation coursed through me. I had broken the intimacy of nothing. That was all that ever was. Now I was all that had been. Robed in totality, I searched for the next step. As the original is, all that followed must then be a result of me. Ironically, the first thing I created was a problem. The situation tickled me. Humor. The second thing I created. A nagging feeling permeated through me though. You see, the consistency of stillness is the bed for those who wish to remain dreamers. A realm in which one's thoughts perpetually persist in their intangible form, constantly crying out to be realized until their wails are whispers, and then not even. That truly is the death of an individual. Or at least the first death. Regardless, there is little more detrimental to development than the safety of being comfortable in one's chains. Whether it be a mother's embrace, the callings of tradition, or societal cages, whatever bindings render you inert should be severed. However, many do find solace in this stillness. A relief in the idea that the wonders separating them from the herd need not be challenged and scrutinized. For more painful is the thought of dreams crushed than that of those not achieved. To each their own. The issue then is the loneliness of such misery. To forsake yourself brings a hollowness that harbors resentment. It lingers. It festers. It consumes. It bears down on the progressors, the progenitors, and the purposeful. A sonata of vivisections that target those who, in their mind, have failed to remove the rose tint. Motion breeds animosity in those who choose to stay stagnant. Strange then, when viewing my disposition, that the same nagging feeling swelled. This new state, this new idea, this new passion. I wanted to experience it all. I wanted to broaden my scope. I wanted to weave the concepts that draped from my crown. I wanted to hang the sky just to whip its boundaries asunder, to reify the abstract, to drink the satisfaction of actualization. Yet, that was not all that arose in me. If I were to explain God, how would I? A despicable being that watches as misfortune falls, only to act on and for its own glory. An indispensable force that cultivates existence through trial and error. No. It is but a mournful child forced to bear everything that is while being uncaptivated as every epoch lays before them. Existing with a mindset that is incompatible with its own creations. Cursed to be adored, doomed to be hated, and destined to be forgotten. Why? Why then is it idealized to this extent? The ramblings of one supposedly above it all, yet constantly present in the minute. The exhaustion. Is this existence that enchanting? Truthfully, a part of me yearned for that familiarity once more. The sensuality of nothingness brought with it a deeper intimacy than any could experience. It was already perfect. So why? Two infinities did battle, and from that turbulence I once again was strung together. The struggle, the pain, the disappointment of all that would come from me flashed like memories through my every inch. I was enveloped in this bog. It lasted for what felt like eons. I saw every world that could begin and how they would end. The civilizations that I would end. The cries for salvation, the heralds that welcomed erasure, the fence-sitters who merely observed. Through it all, I felt nothing. Does starting something that you know the end of even count as growth? Is there even merit to knowing everything without having to learn anything? Is it just a stillness reconceptualized? The beginning once more. I felt the comfort for a moment. That stillness, the silence, it was nice. Then, I lopped it off. Thank you for reading, listening, experiencing something that Kamsi wrote. See you next time.